Welcome to today's episode where we delve deeper into the science of healing after narcissistic abuse. It's essential to understand that the trauma experienced in such relationships is not just a fleeting memory, but a deeply ingrained part of our subconscious and physical being. This trauma, stored as implicit memories and adaptations, lingers in the deeper recesses of our brain. It's a misconception that time alone can heal these wounds. The reality is far more complex. Let's explore the science behind why healing from narcissistic abuse is not a straightforward journey. Firstly, our bodies need to feel safe, to begin the process of releasing the numerous adaptations and changes that occurred during the abusive relationship. Simply waiting for time to pass won't resolve the trauma. In fact, without active intervention, one could remain in the same emotional state years after leaving the narcissist. In this episode, we will identify 5 key signs that indicate healing might not be progressing as well as it could be. This understanding is crucial for anyone on the path to recovery. 1. Trauma bonding and cognitive dissonance. In the complex aftermath of narcissistic abuse, 2 particularly atypical symptoms often emerge, fundamentally altering the path to recovery: trauma bonding and cognitive dissonance. These symptoms are not commonly seen in other trauma-related disorders, making them unique to the experience of narcissistic abuse. Trauma bonding can be likened to an addiction to the narcissist. It represents a profound conflict within the self, where part of your psyche is acutely aware of the narcissist's harmful nature, while another part remains emotionally attached, clinging to positive memories or the hope of what could have been. This dichotomy creates a binding tie, making it challenging to break free from the abuser's influence. Cognitive dissonance, on the other hand, involves the mental struggle of grappling with 2 opposing beliefs simultaneously. In the context of narcissistic abuse, this often manifests as the victim struggling to reconcile the illusion of the narcissist as a caring partner with the reality of their abusive behavior. This mental turmoil can be deeply unsettling, leading to significant psychological distress. The journey to heal from both trauma bonding and cognitive dissonance is intricate and requires substantial time and effort. It typically involves a period of brain rewiring, which can take around 8 months or more. This process is akin to retraining your brain to perceive and interact with the world differently, free from the influence of the narcissist. However, the healing process can be notably hindered if you find yourself perpetually stuck in a state of fight, flight, or freeze. These responses are the body's natural reaction to threat or trauma, but when constantly activated, they can prevent the necessary neural changes from occurring, trapping you in a cycle of trauma and distress. To navigate through this, developing techniques to regulate the nervous system is crucial. This might include therapies and practices that help in calming the body, allowing you to step out of the survival mode. Techniques such as mindfulness, yoga, and targeted therapies like EMDR, eye movement desensitization and reprocessing, can be effective in this regard. These methods work by enhancing your ability to manage and process the complex emotions associated with trauma bonding and cognitive dissonance. In essence, healing from the effects of trauma bonding and cognitive dissonance in narcissistic abuse is a process that requires both time and active engagement in therapeutic practices. It's a journey of reorienting your brain and emotional responses away from the turmoil inflicted by the abuser and towards a path of self-awareness and recovery. 2. Chronic self-doubt. The phenomenon of chronic self-doubt in the aftermath of narcissistic abuse is deeply rooted in the manipulative tactics employed by the narcissist. These individuals skillfully distort reality, often leading their victims to internalize the belief that they are inherently flawed and responsible for the problems in the relationship. This insidious form of manipulation can profoundly affect your self-perception, causing you to constantly question your worth, decisions, and perceptions. As you gradually come to understand the dynamics of narcissistic abuse, a crucial step in the healing journey, there's an expectation that this self-doubt will begin to subside. This understanding involves recognizing the narcissist's behaviors for what they are: tools of control and manipulation, rather than reflections of your own inadequacy. However, if self-doubt continues to persist despite gaining insights into the nature of the abuse, it's indicative of a deeper, more ingrained level of trauma. This enduring self-doubt is not just a surface-level symptom. It's interwoven with complex feelings of shame, insecurity, and internalized criticism. The narcissist's repeated negative messaging can lead to a deep-seated belief system where you constantly feel unworthy or inadequate. This internalized belief system is often fortified by a continuous loop of self-critical thoughts, feelings of shame about being fooled or trapped by the abuser, and a pervasive sense of insecurity about one's ability to perceive reality accurately. Overcoming this requires not just cognitive understanding of the abuse, but often a more profound emotional process of healing. Therapeutic interventions like cognitive behavioral therapy, CBT, which focuses on changing negative thought patterns, or therapies that address the emotional impact of the abuse, like trauma-focused therapies, can be particularly effective. These approaches work by helping to dismantle the deeply embedded belief systems that fuel chronic self-doubt, replacing them with a more balanced and self-compassionate perspective. While understanding the nature of narcissistic abuse is a crucial step towards healing, the persistence of chronic self-doubt signals a need for deeper therapeutic work. This work involves addressing the tangled web of shame, insecurity, and internalized criticism that the narcissist has woven, and fostering a new, healthier self-perception grounded in self-compassion and reality. 3. Intense emotional flashbacks and easy triggering. Intense emotional flashbacks and easy triggering represent profound and disruptive symptoms frequently encountered in the aftermath of narcissistic abuse. Emotional flashbacks are not mere memories. They are visceral, intense emotional states that catapult you back into the feelings experienced during the abusive relationship. These flashbacks can be so vivid and overwhelming that they momentarily blur the lines between past and present, engendering a sense of reliving the trauma. While it's normal to experience occasional emotional flashbacks, their constant presence in your life is a clear indicator of unresolved trauma. This unresolved trauma manifests as a hyperactivation of the amygdala, a critical region in the brain responsible for emotional processing. When the amygdala is in a state of hyperarousal, it becomes exceedingly sensitive, reacting intensely and frequently to stimuli that might ordinarily be perceived as benign. This heightened state of alertness is a direct consequence of the prolonged exposure to the unpredictable and hostile environment created by the narcissist. This hyperactive amygdala leads to a condition known as emotional dysregulation, where you may find it challenging to control or manage your emotional responses. This dysregulation can manifest in various forms, including sudden bursts of anger, intense anxiety, prolonged periods of sadness, or even numbness. These emotional responses are disproportionate to the triggering event, but they are deeply rooted in the past trauma. To address these intense emotional flashbacks and the associated triggering, a multifaceted therapeutic approach is often necessary. This approach may include trauma-informed therapies that specifically target the reprocessing of traumatic memories, such as eye movement desensitization and reprocessing, EMDR, or trauma-focused cognitive behavioral therapy, CBT. Additionally, techniques aimed at regulating the nervous system, such as mindfulness-based stress reduction, yoga, or even certain forms of physical exercise, can help in reducing the hypersensitivity of the amygdala, thereby mitigating the frequency and intensity of these flashbacks. In depth, healing from these symptoms involves not just addressing the traumatic memories themselves, but also retraining the brain to respond to emotional stimuli in a more regulated and controlled manner. This is a gradual process that requires patience, as well as a compassionate understanding of the profound impact that narcissistic abuse has on the emotional and psychological well-being of survivors. 4. Memory issues. Memory issues encompassing difficulties with memory retention, concentration, and focus are significant indicators that your brain continues to reel from the effects of distress long after the traumatic experience has ended. These cognitive challenges are not merely superficial symptoms, they are deeply rooted in the brain's physiological response to prolonged stress and trauma, particularly in the hippocampus. The hippocampus, a critical region in the brain responsible for memory processing and consolidation, is highly susceptible to the detrimental effects of stress. During periods of intense and prolonged trauma, such as those experienced in narcissistic abuse, the hippocampus can undergo changes. These changes may include alterations in its size and functionality, leading to the memory problems you might be experiencing. This is more than just forgetfulness. It's a manifestation of the brain's struggle to cope with and recover from the trauma. Moreover, when the brain is in a constant state of distress, it operates in what is often referred to as survival mode. In this mode, the brain prioritizes immediate threat responses over other functions, including memory processing and retention. As a result, you might find it harder to concentrate, focus, and remember things, even those that are part of your routine or day-to-day activities. Addressing these memory issues involves more than just cognitive exercises or memory techniques. It requires a holistic approach that focuses on physical relaxation and nervous system regulation, essential components in shifting the brain from a state of survival to one of thriving. Physical relaxation techniques, such as progressive muscle relaxation, deep breathing exercises, or gentle yoga, can help reduce the overall stress levels in the body. These practices have a direct impact on the nervous system, encouraging a shift from the sympathetic nervous system's fight or flight response to the parasympathetic nervous system's rest and digest state. This shift is crucial because a relaxed body sends signals to the brain that it is safe, allowing it to devote more energy and resources to cognitive processes like memory. In addition to physical relaxation, nervous system regulation can be enhanced through therapies such as biofeedback, mindfulness, meditation, or even certain forms of psychotherapy that focus on bodily sensations and responses. These therapies help in developing a greater awareness and control over the body's stress responses, allowing for a more regulated and balanced nervous system. Overcoming memory issues following narcissistic abuse involves a comprehensive approach that addresses both the physiological changes in the brain and the overall state of the nervous system. By combining cognitive strategies with physical relaxation and nervous system regulation techniques, it's possible to support the brain in healing and gradually restore its ability to process, store, and retrieve memories effectively. 5. Extreme trust issues post-narcissistic abuse. It's natural to have trust issues due to the betrayal experienced. However, if these issues persist long-term, it might indicate unresolved betrayal trauma. This involves processing the feelings and sensations experienced during moments of betrayal, which can include being lied to, manipulated, or gaslit. In conclusion, the journey to healing from narcissistic abuse is a complex one, deeply rooted in our psychological and physiological makeup. It requires not just time, but a conscious effort to understand and work through the various dimensions of trauma. By recognizing these signs and addressing them, we can move towards a healthier, more fulfilling life post-abuse. Remember, your body and mind give you signals about your healing process. It's crucial to listen to them, understand their implications, and take the necessary steps towards recovery. Let's continue this conversation in the comments section. Share your experiences, insights, and questions. Together, we can support each other on this path to healing.